up, y'all? Can you hear me? My mic working? Yo. Oh, Daniel, your mic is off.
I knew that. I knew that. I was just seeing if y'all knew that. But welcome to the third edition of BSU Speaks. Uh, this show is basically a show to bring a voice to all of the BSU chapters in Palm Beach County. And yet again, this is our third episode being ran right here in Delray Beach. And I am Daniel Noel, ATL President. This is Gabriel King, President of Boca High.
What's up?
And this episode, oh, yeah, this episode we will be touching on issues that we might be facing in our school and community. Because next episode, I know that ATL we have some news to drop. So y'all know our November episode about regarding our IB department and the discrimination that goes on there, and just the discrimination that goes on in our whole school in general that's impacting the way that different children receive education regarding. I know I'm wearing this really badly, but basically like how our school isn't taking the necessary steps to bring an equal education playing field to all the students regardless of income, race, etc. So I will pass this on to Gerbil, who, if you want to start with your school, want anything, what's
Okay.
going on? What's going on at Boca High?
So I feel like one of the most biggest issues that are going on at Bokai is the number of Black people overall in the school. Our school has less than 10% Black students, and the participation of them being in the high level classes are even way more lower than that. If you go to any ACE, AP classes, and I know this is probably all over the district, if you go to any of those type of classes, you'll most likely see at max three Black students in those high level classes. I will know. I'm in one AP class with my sister, and we're the only two Black students in our whole class. And our class has over 30 students. So if you do the ratio,
Mm.
it's not it. It's not it. So that's one of those biggest issues right there for us.
Oh wow. See, even I even I mean, I knew that Boca High did have a predominantly um, white demographic, but I mean, even in the higher level classes, like, are there any like type of like micro? Because I know that allegedly, there are like kind of microaggressions when it comes to like the counselors and like with the black students who like try to enter like the IB program, and if they have just bad grades in general, the counselors kind of proposing, hey, is IB good enough for you? Meanwhile, their white student counterparts, they can be sitting with a 1.7 GPA, and they're receiving tutoring services and such that the black students aren't also being offered. Allegedly, don't sue us now,
Yeah.
but
So I'm gonna touch on that real quick. So yes, like that's partially correct. When it comes to having microaggression, there are a ton, especially in the AP program as well. As if you take a look in, I won't say geography, AP geography from non-binary source. I'm not gonna say no names, but they mainly portray like third world countries as third, second world countries that are like predominantly Black. Africa, Haiti, so much as we see them as poor, but we know the truth that they're not just some poor country out there looking for help. They have their own beauty towards it. They have their own land. They have their own riches and their own pros. Now I understand it from the outward perspective that you're gonna be seeing, some traditions that you're not familiar with. However, these are their people.
I don't know. Think we lost you for a sec. Can you repeat that?
Ooh, where did I leave off of?
Dang, I'm trying to remember. Just portraying, Africa and Haiti as lesser. No. Hold on. We got you. Hello. Got some connection issues. But let's see. But still, yet again, I mean, w- actually no. I'll pass the microphone on to Seminole Ridge if Seminole Ridge wants to speak about their issue regarding their school or community.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Who's
Okay, well,
that?
my name is Aaliyah, and I'm the president at Seminole Ridge. For me, I think one of our biggest issues at on campus would be like lack of awareness, I'll say, because for our BSU, it's like, yes, we're on campus, yes, we're like doing things in the school, but there's a lot of people who don't know like what BSU is actually for. And I think one of our biggest things that we want to work on this year is getting the name around campus, not just a club, but like what the club does, how we interact with other clubs, what we stand for, things of that nature. I think there's not enough awareness of what BSU stands for.
Hmm. And I definitely share that issue with Atlantic because really BSU at Atlantic's only really relevant kind like after Black History Month, BSU kind of dies. If that makes any sense. So nobody really joins the meetings for real. So I definitely see. Can anybody else relate with that issue with their BSU like kind of not being as well recognized as it should be? So, that's because, and that's why I was like, I want to also bring attention to yet again Boca High for because with their TikTok, they're gaining a TikTok presence, and I feel like that's a really good way of kind of bringing attention to BSU because, I mean, everybody's on social media, so if we bring BSU to social media, there you go, we have a name, we have relevance. So I feel like there's lot of different way, and even for my school, where we're kind of trying to like plan a BSU. I don't know if I could call it like kind of like a talent show, kind of, or just no, not a talent show, a trivia night, basically. You know, for students to come on, just play games and such, and yet again, just trying to get the Black Student Union name around there. So, does anybody else from Seminole Ridge want to speak, or would you like to pass the mic on?
Nothing really. Aaliyah just basically said the main issue with BSU, but also I wanted to add it on that our school we also trying to make like BSU for everybody because usually in our school it everyone thinks it's just for like black students, but it's for like all racial. So that's what we're trying to do with our group is like bring everyone together from different ethnical backgrounds and stuff. So that's how we pulled a majority of our kids, especially freshmen, because our plan and our goal is trying to like reach out not only from the whole high school but also to middle schools all the way down to elementary, so that they know and they have like a little idea of what they could do with their future. You feel me?
Hmm. All right. Hmm. So let's see, Outbrain. These connection issues. Yeah, sorry, folks. We're still, clearing our dust. This is a new show, so still getting our production, trying to up there. But, I'll pass this on to John I. Letter Tristan if he wants to speak about anything or touch on anything we said.
Yeah, so my name is Tristan. I'm the president at John and Leonard High School. Really, the main problem with our school is so John has a very predominant like Hispanic population. Like 73% of our students are Hispanic, and like 20% of them are black, which is a great thing. It's really diverse, but then it becomes a problem because they tend to favor the Hispanic students over the black students, so they get to do more. And when we try to do something that they do. It's like a whole thing and it's a whole process, and it just becomes very difficult. So that's like our biggest problem at John and I. And we're trying to get there. We're gonna get there, but it's gonna take time. Everything takes time. But really, I don't really have anything else to touch on. That's really all I have to say.
Hmm. But I guess you kind of like pointed out a really good issue, like when it comes to like black students not having a voice in issue, because that's not even exclusive to your school or schools in general. That's kind of an issue that the entire black community, a lot of minorities share. And when we have issues, we don't really have a way to voice. When we try, like it's either that we don't voice it at all, which actually at Langston we just had a guest speaker who touched on that, and Katie can elaborate more on that, about like actually Katie, because I feel like you can word it a lot better than Howard about our guest speaker and like the importance of trying to find a way as minorities, to voice the issues that we have in our communities and schools.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, yes. We had a guest speaker that came last Monday, and he was helping us voice our opinions and how we felt about the different things going on in the school, and how there's like a level of things at the school, and how like when white people complain about certain things, they get what they want, versus when us black people complain, even though our school is majority blacks, when we complain, it's like we're being too loud, we're taking it too far, we're doing too much, and how we're just forced to be silent about our issues while they complain. They just get whatever they want, basically. So, and he was just talking about how we need to build a community, and how we need to come together, and if we want to see the type of change that we're imagining, we need to stand firm and just not back down. Basically, is what he was speaking.
Yeah, because I think an important thing that we just have to remember is that just because, we are, the minority and such doesn't mean that we don't have a voice. Because yet again, I'm just one person. If I say something, if I voice something, I can easily get overlooked. If somebody comes with me to a meeting, like to, let's say, a SAC meeting and such, great, that's two people voicing about the same issue. And it's like the more we kind of come together to speak about the same thing, the more kind of power we have over people, which is something that I guess we kind of overlook, just the power in numbers. Because yet again, just because we're small doesn't mean that we can't be loud. And hey, if they try to shut us out, I mean, it's easy to shut one person up. But if let's say like 10, 100 people come together, good luck with that. So let's see. Anybody want to add on that, or let's see, Katie, Yana, do you want to touch on anything in your school and such, or Vince? Hello, Vince. I know you popped in and out.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Um, I mean, I think the problem with Seminole is that last year and the years in the past, we didn't have that much people in the group, in the BSU group. You know what I'm saying? So it just goes back to what you guys were saying. We didn't have like a big voice, so like we couldn't do the stuff we wanted to do, or like we didn't do like a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But this year we have way more people, and I just hope this year we can do like a lot more stuff. You know what I'm saying, and get together. You feel me?
Hmm. Yeah, because it's one thing to be able to see the problems. It's one thing to be able to see the issues that are going on, in our.
Did he get kicked out? He got kicked out. Okay, let me pick up for him. It's one thing when it's like where we can see the problem, but what we're gonna do about the problem is the most important fact. We can say, "Oh, we see this going on, we see this going on." How can we come together as a collective group to be like, "Okay, we see the issue. Now we want to fix the issue." Because if this continues, it'll be an unbroken cycle and it's not going to look good for us. Even though we're considered the minority, we have a big group. Look around in your communities. You will see black, whenever, wherever you are, you'll see at least one black person, at least one. So if we can just find a way to just come together, we can really make a difference. This is like back then, Ruby Rose. I don't know a lot of them. Like my memory is not that good, but I'm just saying, if we like, this is the time of our lives. Even though we're young, this is the time to make a change. Anybody want to add on?
Yeah, I can add. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think, like with what you said, I also think it's also important to work within the communities, in order to like problem solve instead of just complain. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times it's like, yeah, I want this, we want this to happen. Why isn't this happening? And it's like, if you don't take those steps within your community, like Black people, if you're not taking those steps to make the changes, you can't expect change, because there's the white people may not do it for you, or someone else isn't going to do it for you. Like if you're not willing to do the work, you've got to take those steps. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times our issues come from within as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of our biggest problems, like not wanting to do anything. Like it's even with my club. Like we have so much stuff planned, but it's just a whole bunch of people in my club just is big something. They just don't want to do anything. It's like if you're not gonna do, if you don't take the time to be disciplined and be committed to making something happen, well, guess what? Nothing's gonna happen. It's that simple. That's a thing that a lot of people don't understand.
And at the same time, on what Aaliyah said, white, I don't exactly remember, 'cause I have a bad memory, y'all. I have short-term memory loss. But she was talking about something with the whites, and it just reminded me to a conversation we were having back on Monday, and how the white people, when Black people complain, they'll do something to just shut you up for a little bit, and then you'll think the issue's resolved when really they just put a corkscrew was in a place where it doesn't fit. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, we just, even if we just get the one thing that we want, we need to fight for like things that we didn't even know that we wanted, you know? So yeah,
I also hold on. I also want to add on that majority of the problem that comes with like Black people and getting their attention is that sometimes the problem comes from us ourselves. You feel me? Like I feel like if more of us colored people would like influence other colored people to like step up, I mean, we could make a an awareness, but most of the problem comes with like us not.
That has to do with like the mentality that we kind of rise told that, oh yeah, this is gonna be difficult because your skin color. You could try to do that. It's gonna be difficult. It's like a whole bunch of times we're like beat down to the curb, just and then we get satisfied with it. We're like, okay, well, I want something to happen, but I don't know how to make it happen. So I'm not just gonna make it happen. I'm just gonna go with the flow and live life how I've been living life, because and then we end up passing that on from generation to generation from generation and so on and so forth. And like if we don't stop that one, then nothing's gonna happen.
And that's exactly what's happening in our school right now. We have the IB program, and after the 2 years of MYP, we have CP and DP. And a lot of the counselors, if you look at the groups of CP and DP, which is CP is just like they give you a certificate, and it's like, oh, you did IB, and then like the diploma is just like, it's more of a higher skill. And if you look at the two groups, there's more Black people in CP than there is in DP, because the counselors are ingraining it in their minds that, oh, you're not good enough for CP, you're not smart enough, you're not on that type of level. And then the kids are fine with it. They're like, okay, I don't have to do as much work. Or, okay, they believe it's been pushed on you so much that like you're not good enough. You just start to believe it. And that's not like you were saying, and then that just continues for generations and generations and generations, and it's just a curse.
I have a question. So I think one of you guys were talking about, like, I don't know who, but I think one of y'all mentioned like only like less people in ACE classes. Do you think like guidance counselors at your school, like they'll look at your records and stuff, and they'll look at? Do you think that you, how am I supposed to say this? Like the background of where you come from, right? Do you think that they would purposely not put you in those classes that you kind of meet the requirements of being in, but they're like, nah, I don't think they're gonna do well in this because background based on background.
I mean, well for my school. Well, when it comes to like the non-IB classes, I know like for my school it's kind of like the opposite, as in the counselors will intentionally put like more minority student in higher level classes, but the students themselves kind of say voluntarily say like, hey, I don't want to be in this class. This class is too hard, and it's like it doesn't even boil down to the fact that they can't, the students themselves can't do it. They just don't want to, because yet again, what
Mm-hmm.
Kay was mentioning before, they ingrain in themselves that they're already lesser. So what's the point of trying? Um,
Right.
so yet again, it's really just a mentality that we kind of have to remove from ourselves. Our the fact that we're born with a different skin color does not dictate what our potential is. So yet again, just because I can perform as the same level of power as my white counterparts, I can perform just as well as my Hispanic counterparts. My Hispanic counterparts, my Asian, anybody. We are all equal at the end of the day. So it's just I feel like that's just something that we have to remember. Just when we go through life, is we're not we're not ever. I don't even know how to word it, so I guess word it better.
And also,
Um,
it's like if you want it, you have to want it more than anybody else. Like, to do anything, you could do anything, but you just have to want it. You got to be disciplined. You got to be committed to accomplishing whatever you want to accomplish. You shouldn't hold yourself back. I tell people that all the time. Was like, look, you could do anything you put your mind to. You just got to believe in yourself. You got to be committed to do it. You got to be disciplined to do it. You actually have to get up and go outside. If you want to get muscle, if you want to gain weight, go to the gym. If you want to lose weight, go for a run. Want to gain weight, even you can still eat. If you want to, you do anything. You just got to put your mind to it. And a lot of people, and it's not just black people, it's everybody. Like a lot of people, especially our generation, don't have a growth mindset. They don't have the mentality. It's like, okay, I can do this. They're like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I'm too short. I'm. It's people just make excuses. That's all it is. You just gotta want it. That's it. Stop making excuses.
And then yet again, like when you want it, you have to actually like follow through and do it. For example, if there's an issue that's bugging you, talk to your friends about it. See if they agree with you. Like if you look at any type of SAC meeting, a city commissioner meeting, a school board meeting, you'll see that there are little to no people who look like us in those type of meetings. That's why they get their issues solved, and we just sit there kind of looking stupid, just taking the wind as it goes. So if we want our issues to change, we have to actually like want it. We have to actually step up, take some time out of our day, go to these meetings, voice our issues in groups, and see change basically, because it's easy, like I mentioned before, it's easy to shut one person up. But if we all have a group, if we all carve out that time, if we have that dedication, if we want it bad enough, we can have our issues solved. So I saw Katie, you want to say something, touch on something.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention when you had said again, I'm not good with memory, but someone had mentioned something along the lines of what I'm about to say, and it's just yeah, you had said that like there's like not a lot of people of our type on those type of meetings or whatever, but the ones that are there, like the new person that's running for District 71, I think, the person that's sponsoring them, is a person like is a Caucasian. So it's like we have the black, we have them in a like a what you call it, a position of power, yet they have no power because they're run by, you know, the whites. So do you see where like the conflicting, like, do you see what I'm trying to say here? Like
Oh
I'm trying to
yeah,
like make it clear, but it's not clearing the way I want it clear.
no, I get it because like yes, you can put a black person in office, but does that black person have your interests in mind,
Exactly.
or are they using that power to further the agenda of what we're fighting against?
Yeah.
So yet again, if you want your issue solved, researching into these candidates, just because they look like you doesn't mean that they think like you, that they, yet again, they struggle with the same issues that you have, that they see the issues that you go through. So, yet again, just dive deep into these public officials. They're public officials for a reason. They serve you. So if he doesn't serve you, just because he's black, don't vote for him just because he's black. Vote for him because he represents you. So,
So your parents' tax dollars, and if you work, your tax dollars. So your tax
again,
dollars are paying them, and it's just like it's not.
and again, if you want to be nosy into your public officials, because when you're a public official, you basically have no privacy. So if you want to, you can email certain secretaries, submit a what's it's called a public records request. You can open submit a request to see emails that they've sent, financial information, how certain money is being spent, even in schools. Because I know last year, we were wondering, it's like, I'll just use our prom for example. How why there was no food at prom. So it's like it was like $70 for a ticket. Where was that money spent? People can submit a public records request to see exactly how that money was spent. Because yeah, and that's our money. That's tax dollars. That's our money and work. So we are entitled to know what's going on with our public officials, with our tax dollars, etc.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Okay, this is for everybody. So like, if you could answer, what what do you want to see a change in? Like, what goals do you have for the black community within your school, within your community?
Honestly, I just want more awareness. Honestly, like I want to be seen more. I want to be heard more. I want to know more about stuff. There's been so many times, like especially this year, where like we've been planning something, we've been busting our butts to plan something to make it happen, and then we will have to cancel it like last minute because we didn't know one little detail that every other club knows they don't tell us. So I was just like, I want to be recognized more, honestly, and that way we could stop stressing over stuff. Cause I don't know about y'all, but whew, this past month been a little stressful. But it's okay though. It's okay. But yeah, that's what I want. Just more recognition. That's it.
Mhm. All right. Does Seminole
Somebody
Ridge want to
else?
go? But that's definitely an ambitious goal. I mean, you could definitely do that within the school year. Just bringing that awareness to our cause and our issue. Because Atlantic here, we definitely see eye to eye on that. As I want to bring relevance to the Black Student Union. Have our issues actually voiced, and yet again putting people who see our issues, who actually want to fix our issues, in position of power, which is why I do want to mention something that our BSU is going to launch soon, which is our Pathway to Power initiative, where basically we're putting students who actually care about the issues going on into SGA officer positions, into class officer positions, etc., to go into the SAC meetings, registering to vote, actually going out and vote and such. That's a new initiative that we're starting. It's still in the works, but that's how we're going to do it. Just because we need a we see the issues, we can say the issues all we want, but if we're not actually in those positions of powers to actually change them, then all we're doing is just speaking words. So, yeah, does Gianna or Vens want to go?
I mean, I don't really have anything to add on that. I agree with y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what does your school want to for this school year? What issues do you want to solve, and how do you think your school will go about it?
Um, I think the biggest issue we had was we didn't have enough people, but we have like a bigger audience this year. So I don't know. We just have to get together. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys were saying, we can't only like say what we want to do. We gotta like take action and stuff like that. So I think our next meeting.
Oop. Yep. Think we lost him. Gianna, are you still there? Hmm. Dang it. Still haven't. Oh. Oh, there you go. Vince, are you there? No, he isn't. Hmm. Was there anything else we want to touch on? Or is that all? Katie, is there any last remarks before we close out?
I don't think so. I don't, cause
I mean,
yeah, the short term memory loss is really there. I don't.
I
It's
completely understand. Because literally, that's literally me. Like when it comes to, like, because y'all can see like how I kind of started it. Because like I know what I want to say, but I just don't know how to say it.
exactly.
So,
I know, it's crazy. So then it just I forget it because it's like you know what, like
oof. But I completely understand that. But yet again, our next episode is going to be our muckraking episode. So, the huge issue that's been plaguing ATL for a few years now, since Ocampo, we are going to be basically delving deep into it and bringing out the receipts, bringing out people who have actually gone through the issues of the IB department, of the microaggressions, etc. So, definitely you want to tune in next month, date to be announced, for our ATL muckraking episode. And well, it's not our show exclusively, but if there's anything else other schools want to bring attention to the public, they can come on as well.
I feel like we just all need to come together one day and just be like, y'all can't shut us down. You know, just I'm definitely down to go to the school board. You know, they know me already. I've been there way too many times.
And
That was definitely go down.
you know what? Yeah, just a school bus of students, just driving up, going up to the
Exactly.
school.
No, just silently, just be like,
Listen,
easy.
because if we hit the news,
Yeah, and imagine
there's
like we're all wearing just all black, and we're just standing there, just like, yeah,
yeah, just that's not a terrible
that's
idea.
not a bad idea. You know, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. It would work, and we make the news, and it goes from local to what's next after local? State, national.
Mm, Yeah, local, regional, national, what
Yeah,
have you.
yeah.
Because we've hit the news like many times. Like recently, we hit the news for our "Don't Say Gay" protest.
Yeah.
So
Had a whole article. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So if we yet again, there's power in numbers. So if we all come together, speak our issue, speak our mind, something can
Contact,
happen.
contact the news people. I got y'all. Just let me know when and where.
Hold on, since we talk about protests, y'all want to say something about that anti-woke thing?
Anti what?
The anti-woke law passed earlier on this.
Wait,
So,
did it actually pass yet?
I don't know if it was passed, but I know that they were talking about it, and it looked like it was going to get passed. But this was like in March, so I don't know what's happened since then.
But because when it comes to that law, because that's just another tactic of them just trying to shut us up. Because if we don't know our history, because that's another thing that we touch on our Black Student Union. Because there's power in knowing our history. There's power in knowing that what happened to Black people even before Africa's. Because yet again, I mentioned this plenty of times in the show that our history did not start with slavery. Because in Africa, we had our empires. We had Mansa Musa, the richest guy to ever live, who was a black man. We
um,
had, We had
I'm sorry
engineer.
for
No,
sorry.
go on.
Um, the federal judge blocked it, so it's not passed.
Whew. That is
They're all
very good to know. Like that's a breath of fresh air that it hasn't passed. But the fact that they're trying to do that, they're trying to like just take our history out of the history books like that.
It just shows you that there's something there that they don't want y'all to see. There's something there.
Because why would you waste your energy in something that, doesn't have relevance behind it?
like I don't know, man. It's Eurocentric. That's what it is.
Yeah, you can just, oh, yep, white people did everything. Everything was done by white people and nobody
That is
else.
not
So
even
it's
true.
like,
And it's crazy
there
to
was,
think about it. Everybody originated from Africa.
And
White,
you know what's
black,
crazy?
brown, everybody.
The crazy thing is, white people are scared of us now. Why? Why? Like,
if we
like
were
it's like
nothing, if we were nothing, they would not be scared of us. But because we are something, that's why they are scared of us. And we have to recognize that. I feel like they've recognized it before we've recognized it, which is goofy, but hey, still. So yet again, just we have to just be fully aware of our own potential and just being aware of what we are able to do as an individual and even as in a group. So you're gonna catch me at my next SAC meeting. And yet again, yeah,
okay.
because Katie, I applaud you for already just being there and speaking your mind. Because hey, that's more than nothing.
Yeah,
So
and
if we could have,
the SAC meetings are where it's like actually there. Because last time I attended, it was because I was SJ representative and I was seeing what's going on throughout the school, and you really see how detrimental every decision that they make is. Because it's like Miss Gwen Strong, she went there to get calculators, right? And as soon as she stood up, I think I said that Monday. As soon as she stood up, all you heard was, because she's there for the blacks. She's there for the people that are not being seen, for the black students that are not being acknowledged. And they're scared of, they're not scared of, they're just annoyed at the fact that like now they have witnesses seeing that she's there and they can't really just be like, oh well, you never told us. Oh, you didn't say that, you didn't say this. And that really bothers me. Like it's Atlantic community. It's the community and you're like lessering one part and nah.
exactly, because like, why are you trying to silence somebody just because you don't like what they have to say?
Yeah. And that's what
Hello.
I remember someone was saying how it's being racist actually a bad thing. And listen. That's what I said, right? And they were like, if you don't like somebody, like if you don't like say somebody say, oh, I don't like this type of person because that's not my type, right? It's like that's your opinion. And I was like, are you trying to manipulate me to think that racism is just not like there? Like that doesn't even make sense. Like, okay, so if I don't, some people say, oh, I don't like white people, that's not my type. Oh, I don't like this, da da da. But when you're like, do you see what I'm trying to say? They were just saying, oh, it's not bad because it's like it's my own opinion. Like if I don't like that certain person, I said
They're trying to say them is opinion and not a problem. Okay.
That, because, I mean, I think what people forget is that, I mean, yes, there is a distinction between racial prejudice and racism, but they're still terrible. They're still both terrible. Because racial prejudice, that's just discrimination against like somebody's like just because of race. So that's just racial prejudice. And racism, now there's power behind that. Now there's, institutions, there's laws, there's policies written to kind of reinforce that discrimination. So that there is that distinction. So yet again, like that's why it's like it's controversial to say, but it's like a white person can be racist to a black person, but a black person can't be racist to a white person. But a black person can be racially prejudiced to a white person, yes. But still, it's just, I don't know, just being aware that yes, there's technically that distinction, but they're still both not the best. But one is way worse than the other
then the
because one of
other.
them impacts an entire, because racism that impacts everybody who's it it's targeted against. So, and with segregation, with Jim Crow laws, those were racist laws that targeted African Americans and people of color. So, yet again, I don't know where to go from there, but
I'm like, don't be trying to manipulate me. I go to school too. Like, but that was
but
just funny.
still, keep your prejudice to yourself. It's like, hey, I mean, you might not be calling the police on them, but you calling me the N word, that's still terrible. Okay, because yet again, I think that another conversation that some people have is like, oh, it's like, why can y'all say the N word but we can't? That's just kind of, it's like, please stay out of black people business.
Right.
Let us not on
'Cause
black business. Shoot.
because we say you can't use it, just please respect our wishes and don't use it. We say it's like, please respect our culture. Don't get cornrows. They get it anyways. Please don't get long. It's like,
They call it what is it called? A
it's
Dutch
just
braid.
hair.
It's just hair. It's
Um,
just Dutch
yeah,
braid.
it's just hair. It's like, why do y'all care so much? It's like,
But yeah, it's like it's not even hurting you.
it's like, okay, so enjoy that traction, alopecia, because
Oh, hair gonna be gone next night.
Crazy.
just go ahead. I mean, hey, you want
And
it
they
so
try to
badly, do it.
compare. They be like, "Oh, but y'all get lace wigs. Y'all get extensions that are it's not the same thing."
Yeah, one is culture and one is just like
I was
genetics.
I was about to say it's this cool little thing called culture. You should try to find your own.
Yeah, because for example, like with cornrows, with locks, those have history behind them, like all the way back to when we were in Africa. Straight hair, anybody can have straight hair, like genetically. Like you have the genes, boom, you have straight hair. So it's like there's no real like culture behind it. It was like braids, I mean, I'm just speaking for black people, it's like locks, like yet again, it's like they're kind of like attached to our genetics, with our type 3, type 4 hair. But yet again, it's like mainly a culture. Like there's a reason, like with cornrows, back in slavery, they used cornrows as a way of, mapping out an area to plan an escape, or storing corn and seeds in their hair so they can eat like as they escape, and so they can plant later. Um, and again, it's like that whole nuance behind it is like, when you just take away the nuance, then you're kind of just,
Like it just looks fire. Cornrows are fire. Braids are fire. Dreads are fire.
so let us gatekeep, all right? Because it ain't gonna hurt you to not have one little hairstyle out of many others that you can
We're
safely
trying to
wear.
help you. And like when somebody asks me if a white person asks me, can I get cons? I'm like, girl, yes, go ahead. When you come to school bald headed the next day, I don't want to hear a thing. Cause you better. I don't care. Go ahead, girl. I'll even take a picture for you. I'll give you a hairstylist.
And even like when people like with type 1 hair try to get locks, it's like locks and mats are two different things. It's like locks is actually your hair tangling together. And it's like that's something that if you don't have the correct hair type to do that, it's not gonna tangle together like how locks do. You're just gonna get mats, and that's a completely different thing. But hey, when you're kind of walking around and your hair kind of stinks because you're not washing it, so it can mat together to look like locks, we warned you. So, but I think that'll about do it for BSU Speaks with me, Daniel, Noel, Katie, beloved BSU member, and Tristan, president of the Black Student Union at John I. Leonard. So if that'll be all, still tune in next month, November, when Atlantic has their muckraking episode on BSU Speaks here on the same platforms of KOP Mentoring Network. and hopefully by then I can get an approved production for this, and we can definitely see where this show can take us. So yeah, if that'll be all, just see ya later, I guess.
See y'all
Yet
later.
again, bye.